Well, a very good Sunday afternoon. Welcome back to Les Sables d'Olonne. It's day 43. It's just starting on the race course. That means it's six weeks since this Vendée Globe started here in Les Sables d'Olonne. And what a 6 weeks it has been. At the meantime, the front runners, Charlie Dallin and Johan Richomme, are contemplating arriving in Cape Horn in less than 24 hours' time. It's a straight run in for them at speed. They really have a dream sequence. Johan Richomme is on top just now by about 35 miles. Seb Simon has dropped back. He's about 300 miles behind now. Otherwise, the second group is pretty compact now. We're talking about the bromances going on, the brothers in arms channeling George Michael and Andrew Ridgeley. There's these little groups, these little duos going on. We have Jeremy Bayou and Nico Lundvin only miles apart. They even had the same breakdown yesterday within hours of each other. Also, Boris Herrmann and Yannick Bestaven only a few miles apart and crossing paths all the time. Sam Goodchild had a small problem earlier on today. He lost his head sail into the water. It took him about an hour to recover it. It got wrapped round the one of the foils, as you can see, but all good for Sam. He's back racing and going quite well. Guest today, well, why have one when you can have three? My guest today in Cape Town, we have Mike Golding, 4 times Vendée Globe skipper. He's stopping off en route back to Europe, having come from New Zealand on board his new multi-hull Traverse. So Mike is in Cape Town just now, and very nice place to be on this Sunday. Meantime, en route from Europe to Sydney, on board the Class 40 First Light, we have Cole Brauer, who, as many of you, of course, will know, was the first American woman to sail non-stop, solo, unassisted round the world, and she garnered a massive following on Instagram for that. So she's helping delivering the boat, which was hers, from Europe down to Sydney for the skipper who's going to do the Global Ocean Race on the next edition. And we believe she's about 200 miles north of the equator just now. We also have Diego Hervella, who's the boat captain of Conrad Colman's MS Amlin. We're hoping to catch up with Conrad in the live. But let's start off with Mike Golding. Mike, how is Cape Town, do I need to ask?
Well, it's lovely and sunny, as you can see. It's beautiful weather here. We've stopped here for Christmas. We're waiting for our son to arrive and spend the family Christmas together. So it's absolutely gorgeous here, I'm afraid. Sorry.
My heart bleeds for you. It really does. But it looks a little bit nicer than Les Sables. I'll come back to you in a few seconds, Mike, but thanks for joining us. Other person we have is Diego Hervella, who is Conrad Colman's boat captain. Diego's got a nice little story, having come originally from Venezuela through Vigo and Galicia into France. I think 10 years in France. He's now boat captain. Diego, how are you?
Yeah, fine. Thank you very much. I'm really happy to share with you this special moment and song before with all these big sailors. So it's quite happy for me.
How has it been working with Conrad?
Yeah, it was really a big me after finishing my mini Transat race last year and starting this year with Conrad, trying to figure out how to finish this all around the world with this old boat, which was very renewable with big jobs on it. So a human being incredible. It was a pleasure for me working with him, and now it's a pleasure also following during the race and trying to solve some little issues on the race and this amazing adventure, this amazing race with a lot of intensive progress. All the skippers are pushing very hard, and it's intensive race for me to follow in.
I'll come back to you in a few seconds, Diego. Thanks for joining us. We do hopefully have the boss, Conrad Colman, on board MS Amlin. Conrad, how are you?
Good day, Andy. Yeah, very good, mate. Very good. It's getting pretty chilly. The sun's gone down. It's the middle of the night here. But I had a glorious day with full sun and even got to dry my boots out today. But now in the night, it is freezing cold. And we're making slow progress with light winds at the moment.
Conrad, do you have time to get through the jobs list then in the sunshine?
I did. With the lighter winds, I was able to get the big sails out, which meant that I could drop the normal sort of Southern Ocean sails to the deck, unfurl them, sort of patch them up a little bit, and then I've got some electronics work and some hydraulic work as well underway. So yeah, I sort of have a bit of a chuckle to myself when people ask me if I get bored on board, because there is a never-ending jobs list to try and keep a boat like this fully functional. And thus far, I'm staying on top of the jobs list, but only just.
Conrad, how do you pace yourself through the jobs list? Because at the same time, when you've got this lighter weather, you still have to rest. Yeah,
typically I rest when the boat is fully powered up and we've got got all the wind we need. Sort of stereotypically, people think people think that we can rest when it's light, but actually, if you've done a race like this, or if you look at the videos of everybody, as soon as they finish complaining about the light winds, then they start talking about all the jobs that they get going. And typically, we can sleep when we're in 25 or 30, 35 knots of wind, but when there's 10 knots of wind, there's jobs to do.
Relishing arriving at the longitude of your home country of New Zealand in the near future, but the weather's not looking too conducive to getting there quickly.
No. We've got at least sort of 24 hours that are pretty light as well. It's I'm not going to complain because earlier in the Indian Ocean we were saying that there was no respite between all of the depressions and the frontal systems that rolled across us. I finished up with my last front end of yesterday or early yesterday, and then it's sort of been light winds all today, and it's going to be light winds tomorrow. So yeah, it wouldn't be very appropriate for me to complain too much. But there is going to be a monster depression that's going to be trucking its way through the Tasman Sea between New Zealand and Australia over the next couple of days, and that's what's leading me to have a sort of more northerly position than the guys that will sort of dive down to the south, because I see lots of sort of disquieting blue calms down in the south, and I'm going depression hunting up in the north to try and get some breeze to get me through New Zealand.
How close do you see yourself getting to New Zealand?
Sadly, I'll have to wave from a distance, Andy.
All right, okay.
I'm not going to be able to see anybody there for Christmas.
Oh well, that's good in a way. And we've got Diego, who's your boat captain. He's with us today. He's going to say a quick hello, I hope. Diego, say hello to Conrad.
Yeah, g'day. I hope you got to get back to sleep after I woke you up this morning. We've already had a chat today, Andy.
It was so nice, amazing things happening with this Vendée Globe. How are you now? Everything's fine?
Yeah, all good, man. Thank you very much.
Nice.
Conrad, talk to us a little bit about Diego as your boat captain. What's he like?
He's good. He's got his little Venezuelan magic that he's incredibly resourceful, able to find solutions where even I sometimes struggle to see them. And so no, it's been a great pleasure to work with Diego and assist in his transformation from a mini sailor to an Amoka sailor and boat captain. And thus far it's been going well. And the measure of a job well done before the start is that we've actually spoken relatively infrequently during the course of the race. So that's a testament to the work that was done before the start. But inevitably, a boat that's still quite complicated after sort of 40 odd days of sailing and not easy sailing. Well, there is some tiredness that's shown on the boat, and thus Diego and I are starting to talk more and more to try and sort of fix the problems as they pop up.
Conrad, a boat captain very much in your own image.
Yeah, very definitely. It's good to be able to squeeze blood from a stone and be creative and find solutions. So yeah, it's good.
Great stuff. A pleasure as always, Conrad, to catch up with you. We'll hopefully catch you over the Christmas period, but sail fast, sail safe, and have a good day. or good night.
That's great. Thank you, Andy. Appreciate it. Cheers, mate. Thanks to all.
So there we go, Conrad Colman contemplating getting towards the longitude of New Zealand. Diego, what's your thoughts on Conrad's race? You obviously follow it very, very closely.
Yes, I'm following during all day. These next hours will be really important for us because there is a little quiet weather conditions to check all the boat and attack Cap Horn target. With Cap Horn and with the boat 100%, we will engage the last period of the race, and we hope to reach Cap Horn with the best condition on board. For sure, will be calm.
Diego, what's the biggest job you've had to deal with, the two of you, on this race so far? What's the biggest challenge so far?
During the race or during the
no, during the race.
During the race is keep concentrated all the time. During the race, if I am on board, imagine with condition, which board he's sailing, starboard side, port side, and trying to figure out what's happened, and try to keep pushing in my soul the boat and the rest of the Conrad. Very important in this racing to rest and to keep the mind on the strategy from racing. The weather condition in the Indian Ocean really rush, and the boat and skipper suffer a lot. So I was just very intensive trying to keep in my mind to the race.
Thank you so much for joining us, Diego. I know that you've got your family arriving from all over the world for Christmas, so have a great Christmas, and hopefully it's a nice, quiet one, and you don't have to be in contact with Conrad too much over Christmas. Thank you so much, Diego.
Thank you to you, Andy. Bye-bye.
So now then, Sam Davies. Well, Sam has been 3 or 4 days upwind, and she's still upwind, and we caught up with Sam, and this is wondering what she did to deserve this.
Yeah, still upwind. I'm not sure what we did to deserve this punishment. It's been like 4 or 5 days since we're going upwind, it seems like, but anyway. And there's a part of me that was so frustrated to lose the group that I was sailing with and see everyone sail away and no way to get back. So that's frustrating. And then it's frustrating to then on top of that get 4 days of upwind and really heinous conditions. But at the end of the day, everything's relative. Whenever I get cross or frustrated, then I think about me 4 years ago. I think about Pip Hare right now with her mouth. She'd do anything to be going upwind where I am right now. And I think about the kids that we're saving with in the future, and the race I'm doing, and this double goal that I have, and all those things are things that really help me change my attitude and get the positive attitude back, and that helps me remind me that we're only up to go, and I've got to keep pushing.
Fantastic. And in the meantime, you've got your Christmas lights ready to go on.
Are they on? Do you want to see them?
Of course.
Can you see that?
That's incredible.
Well, they're kind of crashing around at the moment, but it's pretty festive atmosphere in here, and it's quite cool.
Well, starting off with the weather situation for the group at the front, coming into Cape Horn probably tomorrow night, local time into the 24th, something like that. But the situation for the leaders is generally pretty good. Just watching the animation here for Charlie Dallin and for Johan Richomme coming in. The situation is not so good for Sebastian Simon behind. He's got this front approaching, and in fact the two leaders get round. We'll just watch their track as they come round. They have this little high pressure zone here, which means they'll probably route outside the Falklands. but that's the prediction just now. And as I say, this situation here for Sebastian Simon with his front coming in, he's going to get 35, 40 knots coming into Cape Horn and 6 to 7 metre seas, so much more difficult situation for the third place boat. But also coming in here, looking at this group behind, they're going to end up just behind this system coming in, which has to be good for them, because yesterday that was not so good. But their biggest problem is the sea state coming in. So they'll just be behind the front, but they'll have big seas, and they're probably going round 26th, 27th for the group behind. So now then, looking at this second group with Clarice and Sam here, they've still had fairly tough upwind or reaching conditions. Sam saying this morning the sea state has been their worst problem. But watching how this then plays out. This is Sam and Clarice coming in to say they've got this northeasterly breeze coming into lighter zone of high pressure just in front of them. That's always been their problem at the moment. They're not getting enough acceleration to get away from these. This is Benjamin Dutroux behind, and just generally both running the ice zone, the exclusion zone. Otherwise, fairly straightforward conditions for the group behind. And now looking at the situation for the group coming in towards Tasmania and the Indian Ocean, their situation is quite delicate. We're just looking here at Tanguy le Turquet, for example. Now their situation is they have this developing low pressure up here, which is going to be tough for these boats. But the other thing that then develops is this system such that the high pressure develops here round New Zealand. So there's an option to either slow down for the leading boats on this group and wait for the next system to come through, or end up going a little bit upwind. There was even a routing yesterday which took them round the top of New Zealand. So pretty complex for the leaders of the third group, but overall a straight passage into Cape Horn for the two leaders tomorrow night. Isn't it great when my weather reflects exactly what Conrad Colman was saying? But Mike Golding, come back to me first of all on Sam Davies. I mean, you know, smiling as ever despite the fact she's lost the group in front. But it's all to do with, or certainly it's all to do with having her situation 4 years ago. She was in Cape Town.
Yeah, I mean, it's very different circumstances for Sam, but it's great to see her looking so positive and happy. Got more Christmas lights up than we've got at the moment, so she's doing pretty well. Yeah, it's always great to see her and looking so happy and sounding happy, genuinely.
And what about the prospect of Cape Horn in the next couple of days or tomorrow for the two leaders? They seem to have a dream sequence all the way across the Pacific.
They have indeed, and isn't it extraordinary to be looking at a Cape Horn rounding before Christmas? It seems amazing. And just obviously going with that is a big split in the fleet, is the massive distances between the back of the fleet and the front. And really that's a function of the two different types of boat that are competing. But the foilers have just come on so fast, and they are now able to maintain incredible average speeds.
And in the meantime, tell us a little bit about your experiences at Cape Horn, because you're one of the few people who've been in both directions, your best and your worst Cape Horns.
Oh, best is probably on the Vendée. I've always enjoyed reaching Cape Horn on the Vendée because it's the end of the Southern Ocean and the beginning of the trek north, so it feels very much like you're heading into home waters. But you know, the worst probably rounding in 50 knots of breeze, and but it was the worst in terms of conditions. But actually, it was immense fun, and we had a challenge yacht doing 21 knots, and we were catching the fleet very fast. So I say it's the worst, but actually, in a way, it could be the best in another way.
Certainly, Mike, rather you than me. But in the meantime, we think we're being joined hopefully by Cole Brauer, who I think is about 200 odd miles from the equator. Cole, how are you? Look at that, more sunshine.
Good.
This is not fair.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Anyway, tell us, what are your Vendée Globe plans then, Cole?
Well, it all depends on where I am in the next 4 years.
What, but you're hoping to be on the start line.
I would love to keep going and sailing. Yeah, the start line would be amazing, but as you know, all these skippers spend years and years getting there, and so I'm not kidding myself to know that 2028 is coming up quite quickly, and I'm still sailing as much as I can. So hopefully either 2028 or 2032.
But do you have plans for 2028, or is that a tough ask at the moment?
I think that it's definitely on the plan. I can't really stay that far away from the water. As you can see, I am actually motoring through the doldrums right now. So anything to get me back out there and racing. So 2028 is definitely still on the schedule.
You're obviously working with Boris and part of the Militia team. What was it like being at the start? Was that presumably much more inspirational in terms of getting you towards the Vendée Globe?
Yeah, Boris is amazing. The whole team is really amazing. He actually had asked me personally to be on the boat for the start. And I don't think a lot of skippers would have done that. I think that they would have probably wanted their alone time. But Boris wanted people. He wanted the community. And I cried like a wounded animal. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever experienced in my life. The noise was deafening. And it makes me get a little emotional just thinking about it. It was such an amazing experience.
And talk to us about your Cape Horn, because you were going around Cape Horn earlier on in the year.
My Cape Horn was actually quite okay. I had to do some diversions right before Cape Horn because I had a pretty horrible system that was coming with about 85 mile an hour winds. And so I did a pretty big diversion and then went around with about 30, 35 knots, which was perfect. Perfect for my pro.
But when you went round, you were thinking to yourself, this was not the only time you'd be going round. You pledged to be back.
Yes, definitely. I think that my favorite part was actually once I got around and you get into the flat seas after 2 months of being in these huge waves. It's quite a relief, and that's, I think, what the high of what keeps sailors going is that they get into the big seas of the Southern Ocean, big weather, and then you get around and it's just beautiful. And the South Atlantic is wonderful. So I think that's what keeps sailors coming back for more.
Who else have you found inspirational in this race other than obviously Boris?
I love Sam Davies. She's definitely an idol of mine, and I've loved her since her Vendée the last time around when she didn't end up completing, and she came into France and drew a heart with her tracker, and that was probably the moment I made the decision I was going to do the Vendée. So it all chalks up to her and that beautiful tracker move.
What a fantastic role model. In the meantime, you've influenced Boris to wear the Ugg boots.
I love my Ugg boots. They're amazing and totally understated. Heated blankets, Ugg boots, hand warmers, tea, coffee, you got to do what you can to make your routine.
Indeed. I mean, Sam's a big tea drinker. But anyway, Cole, it's lovely to talk to you. Hopefully, we're going to plan to try and connect you and Boris at some point in the South Atlantic. But you have a fantastic day, and hello to your co-skipper, who I'm quite sure is enjoying the transference of knowledge. There we go. Well done.
All right. Cheers, guys.
All the best. So there we go, Cole Brauer, who hopefully, we're going to try and connect up later on, maybe in a week or 10 days' time when Boris is coming up the South Atlantic and she's still going down. But Mike Golding, talk to us about Cole Brauer. I mean, a great ambassador for the sport and bringing a whole new demographic into ocean racing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously now with things like Vendée Live, but social media is playing such a huge part in the sport now. And, you know, these young sailors like Cole are masters at dealing with social media. We're old dinosaurs like us are still learning to deal with it. But no, she's done an amazing job. And of course, she sailed a fantastic race in the solo challenge. Well, I thoroughly hope she spends a bit of time ashore because she's going to need to find some money to do the Vendée Globe, and that's one of the big challenges. But when you've got a following like that, it's much easier to sell the proposition to a sponsor. And I would have thought she's an absolutely great prospect to see on the start line in 2028.
Here's hoping. But meantime, Mike, Pip Hare has been making steady progress, relatively slow progress towards Melbourne, on what she calls her slow boat to Melbourne. And this was Pip yesterday, I think. She's still making decent progress, but good to see Pip smiling.
So it's day 6 now on the slow boat to Melbourne. We've travelled 280 miles since dismasting. And I'm going to break the 500-mile barrier today. So currently there's 506 miles to Melbourne. I'm pretty happy with the progress we made yesterday. It actually really felt great to get moving. And last night, kind of for the first time, I was able just to sit on deck and chill for a bit. And what was incredible about that was I just heard this little plop next to the boat, and I thought, what's that? And then again, and this seal, a tiny little seal, I mean, it looks like a juvenile to me, but I don't know anything about these things, came next to the boat and was playing with the boat for half an hour. It was just magical, absolutely magical.
So that's Pip Hare heading for Melbourne. Mike, of course, a situation that you can empathise with. You lost your mast in 2008 and I think had about 1,000 miles to sail to Fremantle.
That's right. I mean, I completely recognise that situation. It's great to see Pip looking so positive. The reality of it is when quite often when the mast fails, you're under immense pressure during the race, and with the mast failure is obviously devastating, but there is a release to the pressure because the relentless pressure of the race is behind you, and you can almost see it in Pip that she is kind of released and feeling that burden is gone. And that's the positive side of it. Obviously, she'll be devastated not to be competing, but and it sounds to me like she's had a situation where they've got no real explanation as to why the mast failed. Everything sounds like it was attached, and it's just failed in 2 places. So it's very difficult to reconcile that because you have no idea what's caused it to fail.
But it was a new mast, we believe, that was fitted this year, and she has the old mast at home in Gosport, I guess.
Yeah, which obviously for the team makes it financially better, but I mean, it's still strange if you don't know the reason why the rig has failed. But I mean, I'm guessing they'll sort of analyse what went on. I believe the boat slammed, but nothing exceptional. You've seen the kind of slamming that these boats are enduring. I wouldn't have thought that on its own would be a reason. It does sound like, you know, there's been some damage in the tube. All it takes is some micro cracking in the tube and you get a compression failure just on the overload, and then the mast just crumples, you know. So that's really hard to bear, but you know, I'm hoping she gets in very quickly so she can enjoy. If she can't enjoy Christmas ashore, but she'll be able to enjoy the New Year ashore, I'm sure. So.
Here's hoping. But anyway, Mike, thank you so much for joining us. We now have you captive in Cape Town, I think, until February, so hopefully you can join us on a regular basis. But do have a great Christmas. I don't think you'll struggle in Cape Town, will you?
No, I don't think I will. And by the way, I've got a seal right behind me on the dock.
That's the V&A waterfront for you, isn't it?
I'm on the waterfront, so lots of seals around here. So and penguins just round the corner, so it's very Christmassy.
Good. And do look out for Sabi, who I believe is still there, and give us our. Give him our very best. So there we go. That's Mike Golding contemplating Christmas in Cape Town before he returns to Europe with his cruising multi-hull. So that's all we have time for today. My guest tomorrow will be Tom Dolan, the Irish skipper who this year broke new ground, winning La Solitaire de Figaro. But before that, let's have a quick look at Paul Mea, who's had his problems. He's had a leak coming in through the deck, but he's found himself a little bit of a solution.
About the race, I had a hard moment 3 days ago with the water leaks and engine. Since 3 days it's better, because with Sam Goodchild we are neck to neck, and it's really nice because we have exactly the same boat. We just have different foils. All is good on board. I still have a problem and issue with leaks, with water leaks, but we try to reduce it as much as possible, and we work on the system with a canister to take all the water straight in the canister, and to avoid that the water could going everywhere in the boat. So I'm waiting for better condition with no winds and no waves to work on the roof and to fix it definitely.
So the midday ranking in French time, 11 o'clock UTC. Well, it's Johan Richomme still on top of the fleet, leading by about 35 miles, but that delta pretty stationary between the top two. The key thing is, though, now 360 miles behind is Sebastian Simon. That gap opening out all the time. Otherwise, Jeremy Biou and Nico Lundvin super close together, only a few miles apart. Boris Herrmann basically fighting for 7th and 8th between Yannick and Boris. Yannick at the moment is about 2 miles ahead of Boris, but a great little battle going on there. Sam Goodchild in 10th, lost a little bit with that sail overboard. Justine Metro going really nicely in 11th. Sam Davies in 13th. Otherwise, no great changes through the rankings as we go through. Just Alan Rura still in 20th, Conrad Colman in 26th, Kojiro Shiraishi 30th, Ollie here 31st, Jin Kun Chu in the 33rd. Key thing for Jin Kun Chu is going past the longitude of his sponsor Haiku in China, so it's a big day for him indeed on board Singchain Team Haiku. Otherwise, Denny van Veenberg going okay in 36. So that's the rankings at midday today. So let's see what the ranking looks like tomorrow. Say that's all we have time for today. Do join us again tomorrow. Say my guest tomorrow will be Tom Dolan. He'll be live on the plateau, the winner of the Solitaire 2024. But do join us then, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Wow, look at the snow. Such dense snowfall. This gives me the Christmas feeling. White Christmas.